What's up guys, welcome to this new video. In today's video I'm gonna give you guys some insights on how I do my cuts, which one I like to use, which ones I like to train a lot and which ones work the best for me. Of course, before we start with the more difficult cuts, it's important to understand the basics. And for me personally, there are three different cuts. The first one being a 0 degree cut, so just to a point and back, 0 degrees. The second one being 45 degrees, to a point and then 45 degrees. And of course the last one is a deep cut, but not just straight deep, but with a little cut in the middle, of course. I'm gonna start with doing some of the basic cuts and explaining you guys what my focus points are with these, because these are of course the cuts you use the most and are really important as well. And after that we'll get into the little bit more advanced stuff. Okay, so first one is the 0 degree cut. It's to the cone and back in the same line. What's important for me, or my focus points while I do this cut, is that of course you have to slow down when you approach the point where you want to do your cut, in my case the cone. But two important things when slowing down for me personally is making your step length shorter and going lower. So what I mean by that is, if you're going full sprint, you're of course like this or like this, you're just tall. And then when you have to do your cut, it's better to go a little lower to make your center point of gravity as low as possible. Then it will be easier to cut. One mistake that I see happening a lot with people is their first step after they cut is too far, which will make sure that you cannot have a really quick acceleration after doing your cut, but you have to first overcome the big step you put in the beginning. So what's the better option to do after you make your cut? You first put a couple of small steps and then your acceleration will be better. Okay, so I'm gonna try to show you the difference between a good cut and a bad cut in terms of step length. So after the cut with the small steps is the good one, and after the cut with the big steps is the bad one. And I hope you will see the difference between the efficiency of the two cuts. So let's start with the bad one. As you can probably tell, it looks a bit slow, it looks a bit lanky, just everything too big. So now I'm gonna do the same, but with the shorter steps, and you will see it looks a lot smoother. So I think the difference is pretty clear. So these are the three focus points for a cut, in my opinion. Not only for this cut, but for all cuts in general. Stay low, small steps, and also small steps after you make the change of direction. Next we have the 45 degree cut. In comparison to the 0 degree cut, you don't have to slow down as much, but I think it's important that when you come closer to the point you want to make your cut, you lean your body a bit towards the side you want to cut to. This will help make your turn faster, but it also shows a bit to your defender where you're gonna go. Let's do a couple of these. Okay, and then of course we have the last cut, which is the deep cut. And with this one you have to slow down the least. You almost don't have to slow down. You just have to be able to have a really hard foot plant in the ground. Really good ankle stiffness helps for this. I'll show you a couple and then we'll move on to the more advanced cuts. Always when I make this cut, I feel like an NFL wide receiver, because this is like a cut that a lot of receivers, wide receivers do. Okay, so that was it for the basics. These are the three basic cuts. Then we'll go on to the more advanced cuts and the cuts I like to use more. I think if you master these, you will have little to no trouble getting free from your defender, if you perform them well, of course. So the first one is like a shoulder fake. I mostly use it when I go deep. So when you do a deep cut, midway through your cut, you hesitate and you put your shoulders and your head back as if you're gonna cut back, like the 0 degree cut, but you slow down very little, and when you do so, then you restart again to go to the front. I'll show you how I do it. So in my opinion, this is a really good one if you have some meters while going deep, but you want to create a little more separation. Then the next one I really like is some kind of jump cut. I think this is mostly used by handlers, but it's also really nice when you just want to prepare your cut from the stack. You can do this one, but it's a little more difficult to do it while running. It's more a cut when you're like a bit dynamic but not really running, and then you can put this in. That's why it's used by handlers. So what you actually do is you're like a bit in a motion, you jump a bit, and when landing you go to the side you want to go to. What I add to this, while doing the little jump, I watch away from the side I want to go to. So let's say I want to go to the left, I'm gonna watch a bit to the right, and then when I land again on the ground, I put my feet and I go to the left side. So it looks a bit like this. Of course, you can do it as you want yourself. You can add some extra things to it. For example, once your defender starts to notice what you're doing, you can add a double cut in it. So you jump, you go over there, and then you go back. If your defender is following you really good, it will create a little more distance. So like this. Of course, if you want to do this jump cut in like of a running motion, it's also possible. Then it looks a bit more like a rugby cut, let's say. If you do like this, or this. So these are the cuts I like to use while playing, and I think they're really effective. Hopefully not all my defenders watch this video, so I can still get free, but even if they do, I'll still get free. Thank you so much for watching, and see you all in the next one.